So now let's continue with a firmware update over VR. So I will mention also only OTA because it may be a little bit easier to pronounce. So I'm quite sure that most of you already know firmware update over VR principle, but I think it's still good to start with a basis. So where OTA update is useful. This is when you want to change your user application, but your target is not physically easily accessible. Here you can use a wireless technology to update your targets. In this presentation, I will focus on BLE, but we have solution for other wireless protocol. So I will briefly explain how ST is integrating OTA solution. I will then quickly run a demo and show you how ST ecosystem can help you to develop your own solution. And then I will finish with some specific cases, putting security aspect in the picture. So let's briefly review how the firmware update OTA is working. So in fact, the flash is split in different sectors. The first one is the application install manager, just here, which handles the installation part of your process. Then you have the active slot, where your current user application is located. So this is the application. Inside, you have a wireless protocol stack, your user application, plus a firmware update OTA service. Then you have a download slot, where obviously you will download the new application. And you have also some NVM and user data sector. Interesting to note is that you can update this user data over the air as well. So if I try to review the different steps together, so first step is, okay, it's where we start. Then second step, the firmware update OTA service here will download for BLE, for example, the new application into the download slot. Then the application install manager will delete the content of the active slot. Then the application install manager will copy-paste the new application into the active slot. And finally, the application install manager will delete the content of the download slot. So this is the principle. And now how ST can help you to develop your own firmware update OTA solution. So the best way, of course, is to start with an example, and we provide some OTA example ready to use. So you can find them directly into the CubeWBA firmware SDK. So let me open my file explorer here. So this is the CubeWBA 1.6.1. So you can find the example project for Nucleo WBA 665 here. Application. I will focus on BLE. And here, as you can see, there is one example called BLE P2P server OTA. This is quite similar to BLE P2P server, but in this one, we already include the OTA services. Okay? In the same way, you have also the BLE Rate OTA, a new one called BLE Generic Health ECG OTA, and finally, don't forget that we provide the BLE Application Install Manager. So if I try to sum up, the BLE Application Install Manager, you need to install it at address 8 million. And the example, you can choose the one you want. You can install it at address 8,006,000. So now I will run a demo. And to do that, I will use my Nucleo board WBA65 with my smartphone, Android, but you can use iOS, of course. And I will use the ST-BLE toolbox. But before that, just let me highlight this nice wiki page, just here. So it's a wiki page dedicated to for OTA. So because I presented a lot of charts, but here we are going much deeper into the details. Okay, again, some charts, but also some step-by-step guidance for the example. So I really encourage you to have a look on this. Okay. So now for the demo, I've already plugged my Nucleo board just here. Okay. So I need to flash the application install manager. So remember, so here this is the flash memory map. So application install manager just here. So I will connect. Then I will select my binary. So I've already compiled the projects for this demo. Start address is correct, so I can program. Perfect. Then I need also to flash to program the user application. Again, I will select the BLE P2P server OTA, so with the over-the-air feature. And here you need to pay attention to modify the start address, otherwise you will erase if this is correct. Yes. Need to don't make any mistake here. Yes. So otherwise you will erase the application install manager. So I'm taking this address just here, as you can see. So this is correct. I can program. Okay, perfect. So I can disconnect of code programmer. And now I will mirror my smartphone. Just here. I will use STBLE toolbox. The Bluetooth is already enabled. And also I will remove this USB cable on my Nucleo, because maybe you are thinking that I will cheat. I will do the update directly for the USB cable, but no, I will use lithium battery, just like this. Perfect. So as you can see, the green LED is blinking just here. And this means that the board is advertising. And normally, yes, so this is my device just here. So I can, if I click on this, I will restart again. Yes, perfect. So I can connect to my device. There is two main services, P2P server, of course, where I can decide to toggle the blue LED on my board. It's maybe a little bit difficult to see on the camera, but trust me. And here you have also the OTA service. And thanks to this OTA service, you can update the application binary, but also the user data, as mentioned previously. The start address is correct because we target the download slot just here. And I will select a file. So of course, I've already prepared the binary and put them in my smartphone. So I will replace the P2P server by rate, and I will keep the OTA feature, as you can see. Perfect. So I can upload. Yep. So it's updating. Okay. So the upload is completed. So this is still my device here, and I can connect to it. There is still the OTA service, but no anymore the P2P server. And at the instead, we have the rate. And I'm receiving rate data exactly at the same as Lubosh or Dominique. So this is perfect. Okay, I can disconnect. So the purpose here was to show you that the application is capable to handle the OTA operation, but we have also another tool, because maybe you don't want to use your smartphone and you want to use directly the Bluetooth for your computer. I don't know. So for this, you can go on the hotspot STM32. This one here. Yes, for the repositories. And you can look for web. Yes, this one. So for this project, I will open it directly in the, yes. So as you can see, this is an interface for a web browser, and it will use the Bluetooth of your computer in order to connect to the example of a Nucleo. So for example, if here I'm trying to connect, I need to reset my board for the advertisement. Normally, yes. So this is heart rate. I will connect to it. And there is some instruction just below, step-by-step guidance, OTA as well. So it's quite nice. So you can have a look on this if you want to use this web application. So my board has been connected and identified, the heart rate application as well. There is still on the web browser the heart rate interface, so I can still receive the heart rate data. Great. And of course, I have still the OTA menu where I can update both the application or the user data. And what is really nice here is that you don't need to prepare any binary. You can just get it from our GitHub. So for example, if I select here the P2P server, set OTA app, as you can see, the binary is prepared directly here. So I already know a P2P server, so I can select electrocardiogram. Okay, perfect. So the address is correct, and I can upload. So my nuclear board is still here, still connected with my 3.3 voltage battery. So it was needed to put some to change a little bit my board. So I added a bridge, and I also changed the switch. But you can find all this information in the documentation of the board. Okay. So I have been disconnected because my application changed. I can try to connect again. So this is my device. I will connect again. So it's coming. Yes, it's coming. Perfect. So my board again with a new application. And okay, I see the OTA menu and the new one for electrocardiogram, where I can start the measure. Perfect. I can disconnect, and I can go back to my presentation. So, and let's go back to some charts again. Because, okay, I love charts, but here the purpose is really to show you a nice new approach based on dual bank. So what is dual bank? It means that you will split your flash into bank 1 and bank 2. And here the firmware update OTA service is able to make a full erase of the bank 2. And it will also handle the download through BLE of the new application. There is no need anymore of the application install manager. And the great feature here is that you can still keep the previous version of your application. So if there is any issue with your new application, you can still go back in the previous one in bank 2. So great feature. So you can do some read while write operation due to dual bank architecture, and you can decide on which bank you want to boot thanks to this dedicated option byte. So we have a dedicated example, really new, new from this week, in fact, and you can find it directly on our GitHub hotspot. It is available for the discovery board. So let's try it. And now let me continue with another example. This one is featuring OTA and OEM IROT. So what is OEM IROT? So it stands for OEM, immutable, so it means unchangeable, root of trust. So it means that it includes a secure boot and a secure firmware update solution. So this is based on the root of trust that we are providing directly in the Kbytes WBA firmware package for the discovery board. But this project don't have the OTA feature. So that's why we are delivering a new example that will be available soon, again on the GitHub hotspot, that will have this OTA feature. And we will also provide a dedicated ST wiki page that will guide you for this implementation. And this is very key if you want to have your OTA solution, in a secure way. So that's it. As a takeaway, just to explain that the purpose here was to show you that the full OTA solution is available directly in the SDK package. And we are really, the full ecosystem, in fact, of ST is OTA capable. I mean, Android and iOS application, web application. I didn't mention it, but there is also the Cube Monitor RF that you can do some OTA operation directly from this tool. And we are delivering dedicated example for some challenge. For example, for OTA challenge, like the dual bank architecture or the OEM route for the security. And my last word is don't forget to have a look on the wiki page for firmware update over the air. Okay? So now let me give the floor to Petra.